Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Friday, the 23rd of September, 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that have happened today that you need to know about. Let's jump into it. Story number 1. Well, the S&P ASX 200 closed down nearly 2% today to 6,575 points. The bourse is now back to its level of early July and about 8% lower than a month ago. Fears of much higher interest rates and a recession in Europe and the United States are dominating sentiment. Of the top 40 stocks on the local ASX, only the big miners, BHP, Rio Tinto and Fortescue Metals, gained ground today. And that was on the back of higher iron ore prices. The banks fell, so to the retailers, the tech stocks, the telcos, pretty much everyone. About 90% of stocks went backwards today. Worst was Block, down more than 8%, while Xero lost 7.8%. The best were the coal miners. They're very hard to ignore at the moment. Whitehaven's share price reached a new high today, up 2.7%, and is now about 200% higher than where it was a year ago. Also helping is the news that the company wants to buy 25% of its shares back. And New Hope, the other big coal miner, was the best performer on the bourse today, up nearly 3%, taking its full-year rise to 170%. Story number 2, Optus CEO Kelly Bayer Rosmarin delivered an emotional apology today following the group's data breach, which could affect nearly 10 million current and former customers. According to media reports, the personal details date back to 2017 and the cyber attacks have links to Europe. But it is still unclear whether it's a criminal-based attack or a state-based attack, and no ransomware has been demanded. The attack occurred on Wednesday night, and the media is reporting that it exploited a weakness in Optus's firewall. The attack exposed passport, driver's license, and phone numbers, email and home addresses and dates of birth of 2.8 million customers. A further 7 million Optus users had their dates of birth, email addresses, and phone numbers stolen. Story number 3, Foreign Minister Penny Wong met her Chinese counterpart at the United Nations in New York over the past 24 hours, though any progress on ending punitive tariffs imposed by China on Australian goods seems some way away. There's been hope that the two countries could reset relations that deteriorated under the former coalition government. Ms. Wong said the meeting was constructive and she called for further engagement and goodwill on both sides. But she said it's a long road to a more stable relationship. Story number 4, Oz Minerals, which is being pursued by BHP, has given the green light to a $1.7 billion copper nickel mine in remote Western Australia. The massive capital investment in the West Musgrave mine is well ahead of original estimates of $1.1 billion. Oz Minerals is also considering selling a minority stake, possibly to a car or battery manufacturer. BHP bid $8.4 billion for Oz Minerals, but was rejected. There's still plenty of chat about a new bid, though. And finally, story number 5, plenty happening on Wall Street, and it's all about expectations of higher interest rates and the increasing likelihood of the US going into recession. Earlier in the week, the US Federal Reserve lifted official interest rates. Over the past 48 hours, the central banks of the United Kingdom, Norway, South Africa and Switzerland have done the same thing, and investors have suffered. This morning, the broad-based S&P 500 finished down nearly 1%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq was off 1.4%. US Treasury yields hit multi-record highs. 10-year yields went to 3.7%, the highest since 2011. Why? Because investors expecting interest rates to rise are staying away from bonds. That causes their price to fall and their returns or yield to rise. That's it for the afternoon report for Friday, the 23rd of September, 2022. Michael Thompson, Adam Lang and I will be back tomorrow morning for the weekend edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.